Thank you so much. I am so delighted to be back with everyone here and just want to thank you, Judy, for setting up that treatment. It was so beautiful. The synchronicity of it all is something that I appreciate. Living a loving life with ourselves and others. So I'm sitting in that treatment and I am just looking forward to the time that we're going to have together today. My topic for today, Together We Rise, the journey from wounded to whole. And I'm going to be talking about that through the lens of purposeful relationships. And I just want to encourage anyone who's listening to something, you might hear a statement that will hit against a belief that you have. I want to encourage you just to write that down. Don't sit in the questions of it just yet. Reflect after and allow the inspiration of whatever comes up for you to unlock within you. This morning, I want to explore consciously engaging in purposeful relationships so that we may heal ourselves individually and rise together collectively. Despite the ups and downs of relationships and the fact that sometimes we want to isolate ourselves for preservation, we were never designed to be alone. All the truth that we study in the New Thought movement can only be experienced or tested through relationships. It is in relationships that we get to answer the question, what do I really believe? Without relationships, we're merely collecting knowledge or feeding the intellect. Inside of relationships, this truth that we study, this truth that we say that we know, it becomes transformative for our lives. And so for our starting point this morning, I am proposing for reflection the question, for what reason or purpose does relationship exist? And how can relationships be useful in your spiritual unfoldment? I am calling for a deeper or more thoughtful response to this question, as I urge us to go beyond the magazines and the social media images of couple goals, where people get into the human nature or the animal nature that leads them solely into relationship for entertainment. Contrary to popular belief, we were not created to be in relationships for mere entertainment. And I want to encourage us not to build our houses in that land. Oftentimes, the minute the word relationship is mentioned, people immediately look at the special relationships. And I can see the minds just going right now. I'm not married, I'm divorced, I'm single, my family relationships and all the relationship issues just popping up. However, all types of relationships are purposeful and designed to support our evolution. All relationships are not for your happiness, but all relationships are for our transformation. And I'll say that again. All relationships are not for our happiness, but all relationships are for our transformation. Your mother, your father, your children, family, co-worker, your special love, the person on the highway is not here for your happiness, but to support your transformation. And transformation is not always a feel-good thing. This is why so many of us run from relationships. And in the cases of special relationships, some of us wait to be led or to be selected. Relationships for entertainment, it's cute, it's fun, but consciously choosing to be in purposeful relationships is not so cute and fun. It requires bravery and vulnerability and authenticity and courage. Every relationship is really about the relationship you have with yourself. And to experience a state of purposeful relationships in your external world, one must first start with cleaning up and transforming the beliefs of their inner world. And I have two disclaimers to that. Healthy relationships are created, not found. And relationships are opportunities to heal. Relationships are not here to save you. This includes mother, father, and your special someone. At its highest level, relationships serve as our mirror to show us where we need to wake up, where we need to clean up, where we need to grow up, and where we need to show up. When we truly get that every relationship is about the relationship we have with ourselves, our energy is not spent on fixing or finding or cleaning up the relationships, but fixing and cleaning up ourselves so that we can show up more authentically. When we choose to operate from this space, we are then on the sacred journey from wounded to whole. Rumi said it this way: your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. I stated, to experience a state of purposeful relationships in your external world, one must first start with cleaning up and transforming the beliefs of the inner world. Now, how do you do that? The revealing word, which is a text that I use in my tradition, reminds me that all healing is based on mental cleansing. When the mind is free from error thoughts, harmony in the body ensues. And body in this case is both physical and lived experiences. Thus, to clean up your inner world is to heal yourself. The error thoughts and beliefs we hold around relationships must be removed from within us so that we can create images of healthy relationships and then outpicture that or walk that out in our experiences. Purposeful relationships, that's relationships that support your transformation, are not something that is gained or acquired, but rather something that we remember, something that we awaken to. We awaken to the usefulness of why we are in relation with each other. And in those challenging relationships, we seek to get the lesson, to learn the lesson, and evolve in our highest and best self. This is the cleaning up work. Releasing the error belief that relationships are here to entertain and to serve you is the cleaning up work. The journey from wounded to whole is an ongoing journey, and it's not a one-time transaction. Waking up, cleaning up, growing up, and showing up is ongoing as we keep remembering who we are in the midst of our human experiences. When we do not approach relationships as a spiritual path, a mirror, or triggers will derail us emotionally, and we will keep making the same choices, taking the same actions, making the same decisions, and then suddenly we wake up and the future is showing up as the past. We can only last on the journey from wounded to whole by doing the work. Though arduous, though uncomfortable, the only way out of the cycle of sameness into wholeness or into your healing is by going through to the other side. And I like to emphasize that because it's not about bypassing your life. It's not about bypassing the situations, the conditions that's arising. The only way out is through. The only way out is through. I heard from Joe Dispenza once, and a thought leader in the mind science movement. It's a thought that he said that it's very helpful on the journey from wounded to whole in the context of relationships. And he said it this way: for us to find love, a part of us must die. Why? Because anything that is not love in us must die or transform. That is the difference between knowing the path and walking the path. He went on to say that people who hate themselves will hate others. People who are angry with themselves will be angry at others. People who are impatient with themselves will be impatient with others. People who are unhappy with themselves will punish others until they feel unhappy. This is a human side of us. When people become truly grateful for themselves and for their lives, they're grateful for others. People who love themselves naturally love others. People who are finally okay with themselves are okay with others. And I thought, what a powerful reminder that the inner work must be done for us to authentically rise together. Or relationships for me, it's like a classroom, it's a personal classroom. And in this classroom, today you get an A, tomorrow you get an F, and the lesson keeps coming. But we seek to get the lesson, we learn the lesson, and we evolve into our highest and best self. If the outer world in your relationships is not looking right, then we must do the inner work to shine the divine, to shine the Christ presence. And at the same time, I want to encourage you in the work that you're currently doing. Despite how open, despite how peaceful, despite how loving that you might attempt to be, remember, people can only meet us as deeply as they have met themselves. And the same goes for you. We can only meet others as deeply as we have met ourselves. If more of us consciously decide to go deeper and to do the work, then more of us can rise together into wholeness. Each of us shining the light we need to live better lives. Here's a clue. We have the power to use our imagination to envision the relationships we wish to experience. We can choose right now to envision relationships that are evolving because we are evolving beings. We're not static or isolated creatures. We've got to think from the end results. How do I want to feel? Who would you be in a purposeful relationship? Teach your mind and your body, what does this relationship look like and feels like before it happens? And when you ask and answer these powerful questions, you become clearer in thought about your relationship vision. And in getting clarity, you're ultimately re-recording the subconscious mind and pulling forth the vision in your lived experiences. Keep in mind, I told you this. Every time that we unfold relationally, that is, do the healing work in our relationships, we will uproot conditions and history of the past, thoughts of the past. In other words, we will come up against ourselves spiritually and physically, and that may not always feel good. But I encourage you to keep going deeper and to do the work, because in those moments of confrontation, we get to work through what is. In those moments, we get to embrace what is. In those moments, we get to feel what is. In those moments, we get to make choices. We are here to make choices. We are here to choose. Remember, we are always at the point of getting to experience something else just by our choice. And we must choose to do the work by journeying from wounded to whole. This is a conscious choice. If you are choosing, you are changing. If you are not choosing, you are not changing. You're merely engaging in the same activities. To experience purposeful relationships, relationships that support your transformation, there must be a shift from a mindset of independence to one of interconnectedness and interdependence. This is a healthy balance between autonomy and dependence on one another, where you're not looking for people to fix you or bring you joy and happiness and satisfy your unmet needs or your issues, but where you stand courageously as an individual and at the same time express the courage to be vulnerable and to be connected. We need each other on the journey from wounded to whole. It is time for us to move beyond the surface level interactions in our relationships and to tap into a deeper sense of purpose. I want to encourage you this morning to forgive yourself, to forgive each other, and to cultivate harmony as you inspire one another to become the best version of yourself. For when we're operating on the surface level, all our relationships take on some form of drama, be it historical drama, generational, ancestral plots, the comedies, all different types of drama on that surface level. My point is to go beyond the surface level drama. I know for me, sometimes when I'm going deeper and things are showing up and situations are happening, and I perhaps even look at my own family historical drama, I kid you not, the triggers would have me in bed instantly, under a blanket, just repeating to myself, go deeper, Shakira, go deeper, get the lesson, seek the lesson, and just go up higher in consciousness. What has supported me with triggers and relationships is a mindset of curiosity, asking myself questions that allows me to explore the root and the moments when I cannot do the lifting, when I can't move through the triggers. Then I affirm the divine strength is my strength now. The divine strength is my strength now. Uproot these triggers, toss them out now. Or wounds were probably not our fault in our relationship drama, but our healing is 100% our responsibility. Or liberation or freedom lies beyond the confines of the triggers. We've got to go through them. Move beyond the surface level interaction. Tap into a deeper sense of purpose in your relationship, because we are relational beings. And our experiences, our thoughts, our emotions, even our potential healing are all interdependent on our relationship with others. Together, we can rise on the wings of love into connections that honor healing, authenticity, and sacred purpose. And despite those moments when we feel deeply that we're better off alone, when the baggage of other people seems too much to deal with, when we look out at the condition of our country and the world, we must still remember that we are inherently relational beings, even with our imperfections. No matter how much we try to separate ourselves, whether through malice, through unforgiveness, through building walls, etc., we are always connected in some way to the people that surround us. Relationships are fundamental. They're a fundamental part of who we are as humans. They shape the fabric of our lives. Relationships are at the core of humanity, gives our lives meaning and purpose as we connect with each other, as we're in service with each other. So let us encourage each other along the journey from wounded to whole. Let us forgive ourselves and each other daily, because we understand that the purpose of the relationship is a little bit of entertainment and a whole lot of mirroring, showing us where we need to wake up, where we need to clean up, where we need to grow up, and how we need to show up. Beloved, the wounds we've carried, and even what we see happening in the world, it's not the end of our story. They're the sacred soil of which our wholeness blooms when we do the healing work. Together, we can remember that there is one life, one power, one presence, and it flows through us right now. And as each one of us rises in the truth of who we are, whole, radiant, and free, we lift the whole of humanity with us. This is our journey. This is our joy. This is how we rise together. And in the rising together individually and collectively, because we have done the work and we continue to do the work, then we'll remember that we're already home. I bless you and I thank you for having me here this morning.